Welcome to the Nutritional Revolution podcast. This is our special mini series of episodes we recorded with Sarah Sturm during her first trimester. And in this episode, we're diving into first trimester nutrition, some of the biggest challenges that can come with. And then we talk about keeping blood sugar more stable, easy ways to work in regular small snacks, how much protein she should be aiming for. Our protein powder is a good option, and how to navigate common issues like nausea and constipation. If you're trying to feel better while still supporting your nutrition in early pregnancy, this episode will give you some practical takeaways.
I've really appreciated other people talking about their symptoms.
Yeah.
I've pretty much just turned to the internet, which is a scary place normally, but actually I find it quite helpful hearing about other women's symptoms.
I think I saw some notes in your training peaks when you got really fatigued at one point.
Yeah, it's been, I would say, if I had to summarize, it truly is up and down. Like last Saturday, I felt super great, and I did a group ride and ended up riding 75 miles and felt stellar, chose to extend the group ride and did, my own little extension, and yeah, it was awesome. But then the next 2 days after that, I felt kind of less good. And then yesterday I was able to ride and go to the gym. But then this morning I got hit with some really bad morning sickness.
Are you actually throwing up?
Nope. This morning I definitely, I'm not really a big puker, but this morning I was definitely like in the bathroom because I was like, oh, this is it. I'm going to finally puke.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. You poor thing. Are you finding anything that's helping with it?
I definitely keep saltines by the bed. Yeah. And I have been trying to do small meals throughout the day instead of big ones because I have the craziest bloated stomach.
Oh, yeah.
But it's really unlike any other bloating I've ever had. It's weird.
Wow.
I look pretty pregnant, but it's just air.
Yeah. Do you feel super gassy or like
no, that's what's crazy. No,
okay.
I have been getting constipated, which is not a normal thing for me. So that's been a new fun. Boy, this is really just great. It's going to make everyone like keep their IUDs in. I do the thing that a lot of women do where we get really nauseous and then you think this little meal is going to help for a little bit and it does. And then you get really nauseous and you're like, why did I eat that? I shouldn't have eaten that because now it's making me feel bad. But then you kind of convince yourself that like this next thing that you're craving is going to cure your nausea. And most of the time it just kind of tamps it down.
Are you feeling nausea like all through the day?
Pretty much. I'm pretty much just decided that I just do everything nauseous. And sometimes it's worse than other times. You just can't have a dip in your blood sugar is what I've realized. I'm just starving so often, but I don't want a huge meal. I just need small things. The last couple days were pretty hard because my activity level was a lot lower, but my appetite was definitely still elevated. And I think as an athlete, that's kind of a hard thing to deal with. Yeah, and your body like starts to change and it's a little bit, it's not upsetting because you're like, yeah, this cool thing is happening, but it's kind of alarming because we're used to like, having a lot of control and not having anything change. And this is like daily. I was like, my pants aren't fitting.
Something new every day. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Lean into the spandex.
Yeah, totally. And then, I mean, even my spandex, my jerseys, because I was pretty flat chested, like nothing fits. My sports bras, my boobs are like up here now.
Yes. The body is evolving. The body's evolving.
It's wild. Like I really have a lot of appreciation for women who do this gracefully because I don't know if that's going to be my journey.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you a lot of questions about protein, and I had questions about like creatine because like you can find anything on the internet to support either side of that. Collagen. Obviously I'm taking my prenatals, but I've switched to taking them at night because they make me so nauseous. I would love to talk through like what, just because food is such a big part of this right now, especially
Mhm.
in the first trimester, trying to put together simple meals that are nutritious, but then
Yeah.
you also get these crazy cravings for
Mhm.
things like birthday cake pancakes with fried pickles was one of my
Really?
mornings. Yeah.
Birthday
But Dylan was like, "Well,
cake.
we air fried them, so they were healthy."
Oh, that's
The
cool.
pickles.
Oh, the
Yeah.
pickles, nice. Wait, birthday cake pancakes with air fried pickles?
Yeah.
So it's like sweet and kind of almost like tangy or sour
Yeah.
combo
Yeah,
and
and I haven't
salty.
had it's weird, like, chocolate out, like, that does not sound good to me anymore, which is weird.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could spend this whole episode telling you, like, all the crazy things that have changed with my palate.
So right now your body is starting to increase that blood volume piece, and to
Yes.
manage that increase in blood volume and pressure, you need to have appropriate amount of glucose and sodium in the blood. And so craving
Oh,
salt
interesting.
and sugar, or like you're saying, like keeping blood sugar stable, that
Hmm.
might be a piece of that.
It is crazy how wildly different you feel from day to day.
Mm,
And it's been definitely harder for me to, like, scale back on, like,
mm,
exercise because one, I mean, it's what I've spent my life
yeah.
doing for the past, over a decade.
Mm,
But then, yeah, I just like, I know that there's a bigger thing happening than
yeah.
and it's not like I'm aiming for performance. It's mostly
Hmm.
just like mental health.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to manage because some days you just feel like
Yeah.
poo poo.
Yeah. Aw.
I feel like people don't talk about that piece as much, and
Mhm.
especially as an athlete,
Yeah.
not even the disordered eating and body image component, like, that
Hmm.
aside, it's
Hmm.
just we are fine-tuned machines to do this thing, and
Yeah.
now the thing that we're doing is totally different goal.
Right. Over it.
And this is my question for you. Should I be, like, watching what I eat right now or
Mm-hmm.
following those cravings? Or
Hmm.
would I feel better if I didn't eat? Pretty much I just want carbs.
Hmm.
I could just exist on pasta, plain pasta and bread if I
Hmm.
let myself, but is that gonna make me feel better or
Mm.
worse? Or should I get some salad? Salad actually
Yeah.
does sound good, but the idea of making a salad sounds really hard.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think Mother Nature is super smart and intuitive, right? And there, if your body's asking for something and telling you something, I think there's certainly part of that you want to listen to. I think from
Yeah.
a blood sugar stability lens, it certainly would be favorable to pair your carbs with a protein or a fat to keep that blood sugar
Mm,
response a little bit more stable, so you're not riding these really
okay,
high
that
highs and then crashes.
totally. I think that's probably been what I'm experiencing because I just
Yeah.
want carbs, croissant,
Yeah.
toast,
Yeah.
pasta.
And I mean, if you think about when you weren't pregnant, did you ever crave protein? Most of my clients never like, man, I can't wait to get my hands on that chicken breast. Like,
Yeah, I
no
mean,
one's,
occasionally I'll crave a hamburger, and I don't
yeah,
eat a ton of red meat, so I bet it was just some low iron, but yeah,
iron.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not never like, "You know what I really want is a
Yeah.
big steak."
Right. Yes. Well, and I think you're totally not alone there.
Yeah, it is
Most,
hard to get protein in because, like, eggs are really hit and miss, and that's
yeah.
usually my go-to is
Mm,
quick protein, but
yeah.
I think almost more than meals, I would love to, like, focus on, like, small snacks that are, like,
Yeah.
kinda healthy, that I can, like, go to the store and, like, buy a bunch of this thing and, like, pair
Hmm.
like, if I'm having kind of a sweet craving, it'll fulfill that. I don't really know how to do this stage
Yeah.
because, like, big meals don't sound appealing,
Hmm.
but small snacky things do. But I don't know if that's just like an energy thing.
Yeah. I mean, it might be. I would try and yeah, I would try and the small regular snacks I think is totally fine. But yeah, I would make sure you pair it with a protein and or a fat to keep that glycemic response a little bit more stable.
Okay,
And then it could be if you're wanting something sweet, it could be I don't know if fruit would give you like sweetness you're looking for.
totally.
But
Yes.
yeah, any berries or fresh fruit, dried fruit even, like dried mangoes usually are pretty sweet, dried pineapple are pretty sweet. Um, and yeah, you could snack on that with a handful of nuts or trail mix if you
Yeah,
wanted.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe I need to relook at I was, like, trying to do the meal stuff, but I was like, "Oh my god, this is" like, it was like too much almost. But I feel like if I just did some meal prep on the days that I felt better, I
Yeah.
could get some of those going. The
Yeah.
idea of trying to figure out how to cook lentils, but
Oh,
beans actually do sound good to me. But I was cooking
yeah.
this miso soup because I do a lot of tofu, but
Yummy. Yeah.
then now like we had it the other night and I was like, I can't ever eat this again,
Right. Yeah.
which is so weird because I love it, but
Yeah.
now I
So
don't.
your appetite's like kind of unpredictable and your cravings are unpredictable. So prepping for a whole week doesn't make sense.
Totally. That's
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. It's
Yeah.
so annoying. It's so hard.
It's just one stage of life. This is just one stage of life. But yeah, I think, I mean, having options, right? And things that are maybe shelf stable versus more perishable, whether that's frozen fruit that you could put in some Greek
Great.
yogurt versus
Yeah.
fresh, berries versus dried mangoes or dried fruit, that's shelf stable.
Yeah. It's a good
Even
idea.
pretzels, or if you did want to do pasta, you could always do one of the like chickpea or legume based pastas. So you're getting
Oh,
protein
yeah,
and fiber
for sure.
with that.
I think the fiber component is probably what my diet has been lacking.
Yeah, that would lead to some constipation for sure.
Is protein like, I mean, I know it's super in vogue right
Okay.
now. Everyone's
Oh my
like,
gosh, yes.
protein. Obviously, I'm gonna try and get protein with each meal, but how much protein should I be getting and in what form? Like, is it
Mhm.
safe to just be doing the protein powder thing?
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
but or like creatine, like where does
Mhm.
that fall in? I do
Yeah.
collagen powder too, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna be stretching. So like,
Right. Yes. Yeah, you can do collagen powder. You certainly can do that while you're pregnant. You can also do it in the form of bone broth. You could
oh,
sip on
cool.
bone broth, and that's a great
Yeah.
source of protein as well. That's a little bit more complete. You will get a little bit more leucine with the bone broth versus just collagen peptides powder.
Cool.
And yeah, that'll certainly help with like the skin and
Awesome.
all the tissues moving around. If we do like include mixed macronutrients, so proteins, carbs, and fats as
Mm.
your body's growing this thing. It's kind of, well, you're still active and doing your sport, but if we were a bit more inactive or immobilized for any reason, including protein in the diet is one of those big things that'll delay lean mass losses or support the muscle tissue that's there, right? So if we're
Mhm.
still stimulating it from
Yeah.
exercise, that's a great driver to maintain it. And then if we can bring in amino acids to support that too, that's kind of the other lever
Okay.
there that we can
Yeah.
pull.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I feel like I could be doing better and I'm trying to be nice to myself, which is hard because
yeah.
I just want to be doing everything right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll start bringing in having a variety of protein sources and different sweet carb options that are perishable, fresh, frozen,
Yeah,
non-perishable.
yeah, I love the idea of I'm just gonna try and focus more on fruit because just those little small things around
Yeah.
the house and maybe doing some steamed veggies for
Yeah.
dinner. And yeah, I love any way of knowing what healthy healthy carbs, like, with
Yeah.
some fiber would be great.
Yes.
So I wrote down
Beans for
that.
sure.
Yeah, beans. Okay.
And then like chia seeds are a fantastic source of fiber. If
Okay,
you can throw
cool.
some in your smoothie
For
or throw
sure.
some in your yogurt. I think 1 tablespoon of chia seeds roughly is 5 grams of fiber. So
Okay, and
get a
what's your, like,
couple of those.
daily do your daily, like, requirements change for that when you're pregnant?
During pregnancy, I don't believe so, but so there's a
Oh,
couple different recommendations for fiber for women. I think one is 25 grams per day, and then I think the other one is 28 grams per day. They're
okay.
pretty close, and then men is like 38 grams per
Okay.
day, I think. But yeah, I would play with that, and then feel free. I don't know how appealing it sounds from a nausea lens, but prune juice can certainly help
Honestly,
if
that
you are.
sounds good.
Yeah, okay. So I would
Yeah.
bring some of that in.
And then
Um,
I've also been seeing a bunch of I don't know if it's old wives' tales, and this is the downside of, like, now being on all the, like, pregnancy algorithm on social media,
yeah.
but all these things about eating dates during pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
But none of it supplies, like, why it's good to do that.
Yeah.
They're just like, "Eating dates is so important," and I'm like, "But why? Is it the
Yeah.
fiber?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, they are a source of fiber, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it could, I mean, you also get some antioxidants.
Okay.
But I don't know that there's any like specific
Yeah,
magic
I have no idea. The
micronutrient or
internet
anything.
is not a helpful place for the
Yeah.
most part, I would
Yeah.
say. Actually, I would love to know, like, what my macros should be for this and, like, maybe I just start like paying attention and chronometer again,
Mhm.
just so I like have an idea. Cause I just eat such
Yeah.
weird shit throughout the day
Yeah.
and randomly that like I would actually like be really curious to track. like
Yeah.
I do think that like fueling your body for this with food first,
Mhm.
which is so annoyingly challenging to do
Yeah.
if you feel nauseous all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I
Yeah.
will say you do get used to the nausea and you're just
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just going to power through and eat an egg.
Yeah.
I just think for like people who maybe will eventually listen to this podcast, it's weird because you don't want to like limit yourself, but it is apparent that it's the thing that you're doing the most. And like, I just want to make sure I'm getting nutrients in, but I don't want to overeat and overeat the wrong stuff.
Right.
Cause like you just, yeah, I don't know. It's just like hard to like feel like you have any sense of awareness around it
Mhm.
because you're just kind of chasing like trying to feel better.
Mhm.
So I think the chronometer app will actually be really helpful to
Yeah.
just know what I'm getting and where I need to get some more nutrients that don't
Yes.
come from
Yeah.
bread and pasta.
Yeah. No, I think this will be super helpful to see and like how far off the mark are we from protein and is it pretty
Yeah.
obvious that like we're not getting it and that's why the blood
Hmm.
sugar's doing maybe
Right.
some erratic stuff.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It
Um
might be some insight into the nausea. Whenever I feel really bad, I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm trying to remind myself, like, even though it doesn't feel cool, it is insane that my
yeah.
body just like knows what to do.